President, the Senate returns to session with a busy and consequential work period ahead of it. We will consider landmark legislation to establish paycheck fairness, legislation to boost American innovation in the 21st century, and legislation to protect voting rights and American democracy the final week of June. The Senate will consider all three of these issues this month. We'll start by finishing the U.S. Innovation and Competitive Act, now known as USICA. The bipartisan legislation will be the largest investment in scientific research and technological innovation in generations, setting the United States on a path to lead the world in the industries of the future. It includes the input of virtually everyone in this chamber, a product of over 6 committees and dozens of amendments from our Republican colleagues. Tomorrow, the Senate will consider a couple of final amendments before passing this historic legislation. It will be one of the most important things we've done in a very long time. It is the largest investment in scientific research and technological innovation in generations, decades. On judges, in addition, today and tomorrow, the Senate will confirm the first of President Biden's nominees to the federal bench, Julian Javier Niels of New Jersey and Regina Rodriguez of Colorado. I also look forward to confirming other highly qualified jurists during this work period, later during this work period, including Ketanji Brown Jackson to serve on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. These are the first of many jurists that the Democratic Senate will consider to restore the balance to the federal judiciary. Under President Trump and Leader McConnell, the Senate became a conveyor belt for nearly 200 judges. Many were woefully inexperienced and far outside the judicial mainstream. Some were so extreme on issues of race and voting rights that even some of our Republican colleagues joined Democrats in rejecting those nominations. On the flip side, President Obama appointed 320 judges, and President Biden now has the opportunity to fill more than 80 vacancies. Under this Democratic majority, the Senate will swiftly and consistently confirm President Biden's appointments to the federal bench, bringing balance, experience, and diversity back to the judiciary. Mr. Niels and Ms. Rodriguez are two great examples, along with Ms. Brown Jackson. Now, in the same vein today, I also announced 2 judicial recommendations to President Biden. Myrna Perez, the Director of Voting Rights at the Brennan Center for Justice, to serve on the prestigious Second Circuit Court of Appeals, and Dale Ho, the leader of the Voting Rights Project at the ACLU, to serve on the Southern District of New York. Ms. Perez and Mr. Ho are 2 of the foremost voting rights and election experts in the country. With the national focus on voting rights now, their elevation is timely. Their perspective will be invaluable. Ms. Perez would also be the first Latina to serve on the Second Circuit Court since now Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Diversity on the federal bench is very important to me, both demographic diversity and diversity of experience. The courts have long been packed with former prosecutors and corporate lawyers. It's about time that civil rights attorneys, voting rights attorneys, and federal defenders start getting the nod. My recommendation of Ms. Perez and Mr. Ho are part of that effort. Last month, I also recommended Eunice Lee, an appellate attorney with the Federal Defenders of New York, to serve as a judge on the Second Circuit. Lee could become just the second black woman to sit on this prestigious appeals court, a court that has never had a former federal defender on its roster. Just like Ms. Perez and Mr. Ho, Eunice Lee will bring demographic and professional diversity to the federal bench. The 3 of them in tandem will bring dynamism, brilliance, and a real diversity of experience to courts in New York. As a senator from New York, and as a majority leader, I'm intent on restoring balance to a judiciary that has been thrown out of whack by 4 years of President Trump's selections. Finally, on paycheck fairness, tomorrow, The Senate will decide whether to take up legislation to address the gender pay gap. Right now in America, women earn roughly 82 cents for every dollar a man makes. The gap is even wider for women of color. Even when you account for educational attainment, Black and Latino women earn only 65 to 70% of what a white man makes with the same degree, whether it's a bachelor's degree or an advanced degree. Many women with advanced degrees actually make less than their male counterparts who don't have them. So, looking at the facts, women with the same jobs, same degrees, sometimes better degrees than their male colleagues, are making less money. That is the very definition of gender discrimination, and it's holding back women in every industry and area of the country. The pandemic has only made matters worse. Faced with impossible choices between careers and childcare, women have fallen out of the workforce at an alarming rate. By one measure, the COVID-19 pandemic has set women's labor force participation back by more than 30 years, leading some economists to describe the 2020 year not as a recession, but as a she-cession. So there's a lot of work to do to not only recover from a devastating year for women in the workplace, but also establish an equal playing field where women are paid for what they deserve. Senate Democrats have put forward a bill that would make it much easier for women to petition for pay equity. It doesn't mandate that employers set wages at a certain level. It doesn't have the government reach into the private sector. It merely makes it easier for women to overcome pay discrimination. In my view, this straightforward, unobjectionable piece of legislation should merit bipartisan support and should not require changes. All 50 Democratic senators are co-sponsors of the bill, all 50. Will our Republican colleagues step up to the plate and join us tomorrow to advance this common sense legislation? Madam President, I yield the floor and note the absence of quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.